You ever stop and wonder why your morning coffee costs what it does? Or, why gas prices can just jump overnight? Well, it's not random. It turns out there are these powerful kind of invisible forces shaping the price of literally everything. So today, we're going to pull back that curtain and see exactly how it all works.
So what is this invisible hand setting the price for, well, everything? Your car, your phone, even your lunch. That is the big question we're tackling. And it really all boils down to this constant tug of war between two super important ideas.
All right, so let's start with a perspective we all know really well. Ours, the buyers. Our side of the story is all about what we want and, crucially, what we can actually afford. This is the first half of the whole puzzle, and it's called demand.
Okay, so in economics, the word demand is a little more specific than how we use it every day. It's not just about wanting something. The key, and this is super important, is that you have to be both willing to buy it and able to. You have the cash. It's that 1-2 punch of desire plus the actual power to purchase.
Take a look at this table for sugar. It shows this idea perfectly. I mean, at 80 for a kilo, nobody's buying it, right? But look what happens. As that price drops, the amount people are willing to buy starts to climb. It's this really simple, inverse relationship. Cheaper price, more buyers. And it's something we all do without even thinking about it.
Now, when we put that data into a chart like this, it gets even clearer, doesn't it? You can literally see it. As the price drops, the quantity people want goes up. This pattern, this downward slope, is so consistent it has a name, the law of demand. And it's as simple as it sounds. Lower price equals higher demand. That's it.
Okay, so we've covered the buyer side of things. Now let's flip the script and jump to the other side of the counter. It's time for the seller story. For them, it's all about the drive to provide, and in economics, we call that supply.
And just like with demand, supply has that same two-part definition. It's about what sellers are both willing and able to put on the market. Think about it. A company might have the factory to make 1 million phones, but they're only going to be willing to sell them if the price makes it worth their while. For sellers, a higher price is a massive incentive.
And this table for milk, it shows the total opposite of what we saw with demand. Check it out. As the price per liter goes up, producers get more and more motivated to supply more. It makes perfect sense, right? A higher price means more potential profit, so of course they're eager to sell as much as they can.
And no surprise here, when we chart that data, you see the exact opposite of the demand curve. The bars are climbing upwards. This is the law of supply. It shows a direct relationship. The higher the price, the more stuff gets supplied. It's basically the perfect mirror image of demand.
So wait a minute. We've got buyers who want the lowest price possible and sellers who want the highest price possible. They're pulling in totally opposite directions. So how does anything ever get sold? Well, this is where the magic happens. This is the market's handshake.
Right here, where these two lines cross, that is the sweet spot. It's called equilibrium. At this one single perfect price, the amount that buyers want is exactly the same as the amount that sellers are willing to provide. Everybody's happy, the deal is made.
But what happens if the price isn't at that perfect point? Let's say the price is too low. Well, then you get a shortage, right? Everyone wants to buy it, but there isn't enough to go around. And that naturally pushes the price back up. And if the price is too high, you get a surplus. You've got shelves full of stuff nobody's buying. So what happens? The price gets pushed back down. It's amazing. The market is always correcting itself, trying to get back to that sweet spot. Of course, in the real world, things don't just sit still, do they? Things are always changing. People's tastes change, new technology comes along. So, what happens to our neat and tidy little equilibrium point when the real world throws a wrench in the works?
So let's imagine a big shock to the system. Let's say a new health study comes out, and suddenly, sugar is the new superfood. I know, just go with it. All of a sudden, at every single price point, way more people want to buy it. Now look what happens on our chart. That entire demand curve has shifted to the right. Because so many more people want sugar now, we find a brand new equilibrium point. And what's the result? The price is higher and more sugar is being sold. The market just adjusted. It found a new balance to reflect this new reality.
Okay, so we know that when the price changes, demand reacts. But by how much? Is it just a tiny little reaction, or is it a massive one? This question is absolutely crucial for any business trying to set its prices.
This whole concept is called elasticity.
Think of it like a rubber band. If demand is elastic, like for a fancy luxury car, even a small price change can cause a huge change in how many people buy one. The demand stretches a lot. But if it's inelastic, like for life-saving medicine, people are going to buy it pretty much no matter what, even if the price goes way, way up. The demand doesn't stretch much. A simple way to think about it is that necessities are usually inelastic, while luxuries tend to be elastic.
So far, it seems like the market is this all-powerful force, calling all the shots. But there's another major player that can step onto the field and completely change the rules of the game, and that's the government.
Yeah, sometimes governments step in and implement what are called price controls. There are two main types. First, you have a price ceiling. That's a legal maximum on the price. Think rent control in a big city. It's designed to help buyers, or in that case, renters. Then you have a price floor. That's a legal minimum price, and it's usually set to help sellers. The classic example here is the minimum wage.
So, let's see what a price ceiling does. The government sets a legal maximum price, and to have any effect, it has to be below what the market would naturally charge. The goal, of course, is to make things more affordable. But let's look at what that actually does to supply and demand.
And the result is, well, it's pretty predictable. At that new artificially low price, tons of people want to buy the product, right? But the sellers? They're not so motivated to supply it anymore. And the direct consequence is a shortage. You end up with way more buyers than there are goods to go around.
All right, now let's look at the flip side, a price floor. Here, the government sets a minimum price that's above the natural equilibrium point. The idea is to help sellers, like farmers or workers, earn more. But again, messing with the equilibrium has consequences.
And what's that consequence? You guessed it, a surplus. At this new artificially high price, sellers are thrilled. They want to supply a whole lot. But buyers, not so much. They don't want to pay that much. So you're left with a huge excess of supply, a bunch of unsold stuff.
And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating and kinda tough final question. We've seen that these forces of supply and demand are always pushing the market toward a balanced, perfect price. But what if that price doesn't feel fair? What if the market's perfect price for an apartment is so high that people can't afford a place to live? Or what if the price for milk is so low that dairy farmers can't survive? It really makes you think, if markets naturally find an efficient price, when and how should we step in? That right there is one of the biggest ongoing debates at the very heart of economics.